Nice. And how are you today, sweetie? Let's talk about you. Let's get deep. Let's get straight into how you're doing.
It's not been the best day, really. I've not felt the best.
Okay. I'm not laughing at you.
No, it's okay. I am. Just not been a great start to the day. Not been a great weekend, I guess, either.
Okay, so let's take it back. Let's go back to the weekend and let's talk about that, and then let's maybe go through, some things that maybe didn't go your way, some things that you can focus on and that have gone your way, and
pardon me.
Let's go from that. So what happened on the weekend that you weren't happy with?
Well, I was at a market on I was running a market on Saturday.
That seemed to go very
and
well.
And then I don't have any issues with that, really. That was quite a good day.
There was lots of lovely feedback. It was a lovely vibe.
Yeah.
I was there with everyone.
It was definitely one of the nicer ones. I think it was more of a success than last month.
Okay. So that's good.
That's really good. And then Sunday I was at the Northern Quarter Market, which I do in Manchester every month.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just a total washout, literally and conceptually.
Okay.
Because it was raining all day. So didn't sell anything, I sold 3 things which didn't quite cover my stall fee.
So you essentially lost money at that.
I lost money that day, yeah. Lost money at the market, which is, when you sort of come to rely on certain markets of what you can expect to take home that day.
Mm-hmm.
And all of them do vary, obviously, but I think sometimes there's some that you can semi-depend on.
Mm.
And that was one of them, that I was so used to earning a certain amount there, and then when you don't even earn the table, it just kind of hits you like a ton of bricks, because you feel like when you thought you had a grasp on what was working, actually you can't even rely on that anymore. And
yeah.
So that sucks. It feels like, I just can't fucking rely on anything, and I can't rely on anything or anyone. No, I'm joking. So
Meggy,
yeah, that sucks.
This is so unlike you.
And then today had loads of bills to pay, and
Well, you had one bill to pay.
well, it's quite an expensive bill, rent.
You got to pay your rent just like everybody else.
Yeah, well, not everybody pays rent.
The majority of the people in the world pay rent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then it's so it's, and then the weekend before this one as well, I was ill, so I missed 2 markets. So it seems like missing 2 markets through being ill and then turning up to one that is so bad is literally enough to put me now in a position of great, well, there's a huge chunk of my money gone that usually I wouldn't notice as much, but it's crazy. It's how people say oh, you're only one paycheck away from being homeless. I'm not saying that's the case here, but I'm just saying it's wow, I've missed kind of 2 weekends there, but 3 potential earning days, and because I've missed 2 of them from being ill, and because one of them didn't deliver as it maybe as I've come to expect that it would, it kind of puts you in this thing where you're just well, bloody hell, it feels really, it just feels like it's been a tough week.
Okay, I would also say that there's a few important things to keep in mind. It's last weekend when you missed some markets, you were ill.
I was.
You've never missed any markets, and then you missed these 2 because you were sick. So
yeah.
Totally out of your control, and that happens. You can't, and you're self-employed, so you don't get sick pay. So that's something that you need to, keep hold of.
Yeah.
The second thing, and I don't, not to try and reduce this to a biological thing, but it's the second day of your menstrual cycle.
It is, yeah.
And we have to take into account that there's a very real possibility that
so true.
You're leaning into perhaps this up and down
so true,
sort of vibe.
No, yeah, you're
because
absolutely right.
you're basically
I'm just emotional.
you're very emotional
I'm vulnerable.
and vulnerable.
Yeah.
And as a result, I feel like it's perhaps more likely that you're probably going to lean into these things and feel that they're worse than they actually are and more difficult than they actually are. And that's not to say that it doesn't feel very difficult for you, because I'm sure it does, and I'm sure that it feels quite unpleasant. But there's a lot of things that when you break it down and when you take the time to be like, okay, well, let's look at all those things, you'll realize that there's nothing really there to be scared of or upset about. And we can do that now. Maybe that'd be a good thing now, to sort of treat that as,
Yeah.
you know.
No, yeah, definitely. It's, it's good to talk about, and
You're human, and there's going to be times where you say, God, yeah, it's taking more out of me to get to that place of, where you're like, oh no, everything's bad, everything's terrible, like the world's terrible. And it's like, yeah, there's times when you can sort of say, okay, well, look, like you can wallow for a little bit, and then you got to come back out, and you got to
definitely, yeah.
So maybe we should do that.
Yeah.
Like, the market thing that was on Sunday. It's like, yeah, look, it was a terrible day weather-wise.
Yeah.
And I bet for hundreds of thousands of people in the market scene, it's the same thing. You can't rely on certain markets or certain. It's like, oh, well, I went there last month and I did amazing. So it's not. It can't always be like that.
Yeah, it's so tough. It's so up and down, and
mm-hmm.
yeah, I feel like 1 minute I feel on top of things and things are going well. Like I'm putting in work and then I'm getting it's paying off. But then when I guess you feel like you put in work and then through literally no fault of your own, you don't get anything back. You just feel a bit like I'm at the mercy of this system that like I can't really control, and yeah. But I guess people in jobs might feel like that when they get their hours reduced, or they lose their job, they get fired for something stupid, or the company's making cuts and you haven't made it, and you just feel a bit like, wow, like, I'd much rather feel a bit shit about the past couple of weeks of missing out on stuff and things not quite going to plan than work for a company or something and feel like I really graft for them, and then for them to reduce my pay or cut my hours or lay me off.
Well, look, we were speaking to Liam in Tesco.
Yeah.
And he's been made a supervisor, but he gets more hours. But the pay doesn't change despite his increase in responsibility.
Yeah.
So, and that's the tip of the iceberg. That's everywhere. Like that's and there's trade-offs because we're self-employed. So it's like, okay, like we have zero safety net apart from the safety net that we build and put into place.
Yeah.
So which we have that safety net, and that's good.
We do.
And but we were also saying, you turned to me before and you said, it was like, you were like, I feel like I'm working so hard and I've got nothing to show for it, and I've got it's the summer, we want to be going on holiday, or we can't think about those things because of money. And it's like, well, you also have to sort of paint a realistic picture of what's going on, and that sometimes means that you have to be kind of quite brutal in the sense that we have a lot here. We don't have certain things to contend with. We don't have health problems, or it's like we can't find a job, and we're gonna have to move back home. There's that. But then there's also this thing of we do work hard, but we don't work there are some people that do that they get up at 6 a.m. to get to
their job at
7, or or they get the workout in from 6 till 8 or whatever, and then they're in the office from 8:30 till 5:30. And it's like, that's working quite hard. And also these might be the people as well that are still having trouble putting money away, and they might still be going from paycheck to paycheck. So we don't have those things to contend with.
I know. It's so true.
I know all this, but
I know. And it's not like, I have nothing to show for it. I mean, as in because you're so right. People do. It happens to everybody when you feel like you're working and then you get some money coming in. For us, it's like, it's not like we get a wage packet at the end of the month. Then you've got to kind of make that stretch where you can put some away, you can put some towards your bills, and then you can keep some of it for like leisure and luxury things that you want that you can just get. For us, it's like you get money coming in, and then it's like, oh great, that's decent money there, like, you know, what are we gonna, what do we need to spend that on? And it's like, right, okay, well, you know, you've got obviously bills and food and things like that. So then, you know, oh, well, you sorted for that, and then it's like, oh well, I've got a bit more money here, like let's get this or let's do that. And then you think, well, I've got this money coming in next time, but then actually it's not there, and then you're like, right, now I've kind of spent this money on something. And it's like, how do you, as a self-employed person, ever feel like you can spend any money on something like a holiday or like I don't know, like, you know, getting a car or something, like, when it's like you can't, when you don't really know guaranteed for sure when the next money is going to come in, because even if you put in loads of hard work, you can't guarantee it. Do you know what I mean? It's such a weird state of limbo of like...
Well, it's funny hearing you say that, because I remember, like, on one of our earlier podcasts, we talked about the benefits of being self-employed and the benefits that you have, you know, and I remember us talking about the fact that there's no ceiling to where you can go and what you can earn.
That's true. And that's the other side of the coin with it, isn't it?
And the fact that you can make your own opportunities.
Yeah.
Now, and I understand that it's like, that can be where you are right now. You're feeling a bit emotional, a bit vulnerable. So that's going to feel like even just...
This is definitely the most downer I've ever been on the podcast before.
But you are like this regularly, just behind the scenes.
I am not. This is definitely not me. It's just...
Okay. No, I'm just playing.
No, it's just funny. Yeah, money's like
it's a universal problem.
It's a universal problem, but I think it's like I think you have a really healthy relationship with money and how you see it and how you treat it. And I don't quite think I have the same like good relationship with money as you do. And you know, that's totally on me for not, like, I don't know, for not actively working to get a better relationship with money, you know.
Well, it's difficult because, you know, I think that our jobs are slightly different. My work is, it brings money in more regularly, and my opportunities are more, they come about more often. And you, it's I feel like you're in this, and I also feel like maybe just my general attitude is that, like, I've always been able to just be like, oh, I need to rally for something, and then through being a musician, I can always go and make money.
Yeah.
Like, whether or not it's through busking or chasing gigs, but it's different for you, and it's different in the sense that if you're gonna create your own opportunities, they might take a bit more thought and they might take a bit more planning.
Yeah.
And you require other other factors that are dependent. You know, if you're going to run a market, you got to find a venue. You know, you've got to make sure that the market's well advertised. You got to find the people.
Yeah.
Whereas me, it's like I can just pick up the guitar and just walk to the street and start. You know, that's it. The bare, you know, making it as simple as possible.
Yeah, I get you.
But that's not to say that you can't do that, because you've done that a lot, and you've had periods where that's been going really well, and you've been flourishing.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I guess we've both been going through a bit of a change recently, where you're trying to refine what it is you're doing.
Yeah.
I'm trying to refine what it is I'm doing. So as a result, it's like you take your foot off the accelerator a bit and you apply it in this other area.
Yeah.
And then you go, oh crap, but there's all this stuff that I need to also focus on, because it's you know, I've got to bring the money in somehow.
Yeah.
You know.
No, for sure. But yeah, I don't know. I think sometimes my attitude to money is like, right, well, just don't. I think I have this very like thing where it's like, right, well, you want to save money. You want to keep the money that you earn. So it's like, right, okay, so just don't spend any money. And I think it's like not as simple as that.
Yeah.
Apart from obviously having to pay bills and having to pay rent and having to put money towards food and, you know, that's literally it. Like food, rent, and then putting towards any bills that there is. I see it as like, right, well, any other money you're spending there is like bad. If you're, you know, getting coffees, it's like, right, well, you know, we take it in turns to get coffees, and it's like, okay, well, you know, it's a small luxury expense most days, and it's like, you know, but, you know, we don't really go out and eat out a lot or anything like that, or we don't like go the pub or things like that. So it's like, you know, you kind of make your peace with something like that, and then it's like, you know, thinking of things that you might see that you want, like clothes or, you know, just anything. I just see it as like, and I'm lucky really because you buy me a lot of stuff really, like you take me like shopping, you know, and get me things that I want.
No, well, you know, that's not like
you do that though.
I mean, like, you know, I like we might go out and I might be like, oh, like let's just like, you know, do you want to buy something small, just a little you know, if I've had a big weekend,
like crazy sprees or anything.
No, it's just like a little token of like, oh, do you want a little, like, I don't know, something from, I don't know, Space and K, or like, do you need
it? You do that for me a lot, or you'll see if I want any books, or like if I've seen something online and like an online shop that you'll
that's
you'll
just
treat
a nice
me to.
thing that I can do.
It is really nice, but that's what I mean. That's what makes me feel like more annoyed at the fact that I don't have money.
And because you can't buy me things.
Because I can't buy you things, yeah. And also, if I'm the one here that's like paying less of the stuff towards like bills, because you pay more towards the bills than me, and I don't go out and spend 50 quid on myself ever. Like I just would never spend.
Well, I think you gotta, you know, I mean, like, if you to look at it as objective as possible, it's like, let's say if you're comparing yourself to me, you know, I can go out and I'm working from like Thursday through Sunday or Wednesday, like this week will be Wednesday, and I'll be working every night and I'll be doing gigs and whatever, and you know, the amount that I get for those gigs is pretty decent. It's maybe like 8 times the minimum hourly rate.
Yeah.
And then so I'll have more money to not mess about with. I'll have more money to throw about or to consider where to put. And then if you're doing markets, you might do markets like at best like twice a week.
Yeah.
And that's you know, I'm doing double that, and I know exactly what I'm getting.
Yeah.
And maybe it's a case of like, you need to just try and put more time and effort into being like, well, how I need to be making more opportunities for myself. That's a given, right? You want more money to play with. You think that, okay, I'm working hard and I'm doing these markets, but it's you sort of without knowing it, it's like you're putting a cap and a boundary around it, because it's like, well, there's 2 days there for a market, or I might have to go here for a market, or like, so there has to be maybe a rethinking of like, well, how can I make more opportunities that are midweek?
Yeah. Well.
That you know, or where I can refine, like you go into a market like this one on Sunday, you go to that market like a lot of other people would, and it's like, right, it's raining, weather's terrible. I've taken all of the what's the word? All of the certainty out of it, and I've just put it's all risk now. It's dependent on all these factors. Whereas there are things like doing pop-ups in shops and running your own markets where you take on more responsibility and you take on more risk over a long period, but then you get to reap more rewards than you would from I know you know this, but I think the reality is like, I think you might be just working harder and not smarter. You might be spending loads of time making stuff, putting loads of time into that, and then the market comes around and it's like, well, it didn't pay off, and it's like, okay, because there was all these factors that were out of your control. So
I know what you mean, and like, that's what I mean though. That's why I really don't do any markets regularly anymore. I really only do like maybe 2 or something a month, which, you know, if someone said, oh, well, you've got 4 weekends there in a month, that's like, you know, 8 days in a month where there's markets at the weekend and you're only doing sometimes only 1 or 2 of them. anyone would go, oh, well, you're not doing enough. But that's because you have to pay to be at the markets. And if they don't pay off, then yeah, it's a risk and it's a loss. So that's why I've been doing more of like the pop-ups, like Urban Outfitters or Cow and stuff.
And they seem to have been going
They
pretty
seem
well.
to be going well, but again, like, so I do that, and then it's like, right, and then I'll do, you know, like story sales and stuff on Instagram or things like that. So it's like, right, okay, and then, do you know what I mean? Like it's, so I have done that shift of like trying to work smarter, but it's not working.
No,
So,
no. I don't think that's
know.
fair. I think it is working. I think it's just that
because I have less money now than I've had in a long time.
Well, also it's important to keep in mind that you're not on the breadline, and that you do have your own private bank account, and then you have a savings account. So it's not as if that you're on your ass. You know, you have more money than potentially people that are going from paycheck to paycheck. That's not the case for you, but so you got to keep that in mind. But I feel like if this was you, like when you're on full form and you're talking to yourself, you'd say just what I've been saying, and that would be, well, you have to try and find more of your own opportunity, and you have to rally, and you have to try and that might look different. I don't know how that's going to look because I don't have the answers, but you know how you can get when you put your mind to something and say, right, I'm gonna go for that, I'm gonna go and run at that, and I'm gonna do that, and you know the payoff that you can get. And I don't know what that looks like, but you can do that because you have done that. You just need to try and get into that mindset of you just need to try and get into that mindset.
Yeah.
And that's yeah.
I definitely feel like I've been in that mindset though for the past few weeks, and things have been going really well. Like my pop-ups are going well, like, you know, doing the market, whatever markets I'm doing are going pretty well.
And you also had, as I say, like I was saying this before, you got an iPad this month, which was for your business.
Yeah.
And you also missed some markets. So there were some expenses there that were out of your control. Well, not the iPad, but like, you know, you didn't know then that the week after you bought that you were going to get sick and that you were going to miss 2 markets. And
that's another thing there. I was trying to work smarter instead of paying out so much money to get something done. I was going to just do it myself and then get the skill.
Yeah.
And then now it's like, well, was that the wrong decision? Trying to work smarter. Do you know what I mean?
What do you mean, was it the wrong decision in the sense that buying the iPad, you should have just paid someone to do it?
Yeah.
Well, the flip with that
that's what I mean. Like, it's like there is no work smarter or work harder, because like I am defo doing both.
Well,
I'm working really hard and I'm like trying to be smart about stuff and it's not working.
No one said that you weren't working hard or that you weren't working smart.
Yeah.
You know, but you're the one, and I always find this interesting. You're the one that is saying that you feel as if that there is something that's not working, and that you're trying to find more money. You know, you want to have more security. You want to do that. So clearly something's not working.
Yeah.
But then I say, well, there's this and there's that, and then you say, well, no, it's not that because I'm doing both of those things. But the proof in the pudding is that, you know, if you were doing both of those things, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
Yeah.
So something's out of...
No, because things are working though.
Yeah, exactly. There are elements of the business
there are elements that are working, and elements that I've been doing to make it better for myself. But then...
Okay, but like we said before,
I miss one weekend being ill, and then one of my usual... If I'd have done all right yesterday on Sunday in Manchester, I probably wouldn't be feeling this way now. And that's what annoys me as well, is like, why am I like so like fragile that one day of not earning my normal amount of money makes me this like upset and annoyed?
Well, again, like, I think that partly that is because you're a bit more emotional than
maybe
than you usually would be.
Yeah.
And we had a nice, you know, like yesterday we had a very... Well, I thought it was a nice day. We had a very nice day.
Yeah, it was a lovely day.
And it was sort of like a day, you know, you had a rough market, that you had a weekend of markets, and one of them was really good, but, you know, it's responsibility on you, so that drains you a bit.
Yeah.
Then the second one was responsibility on others to an extent, and it didn't pay off. And then Monday we have a nice day with each other, no work, no business. Then it's like you come back and
it's like back,
the rent needs paying, this needs doing, and then you're like, oh
it's
god,
just like reminders of like, oh, you know, you thought you were doing really well at the minute with things you've been doing, but this one thing hasn't paid off, and now it's like that's how. Like, don't ever think that anything's okay. Basically, always be in a constant state of like.
No, that's not true. That's not true. And you
never lull yourself into a thing of thinking that you're on top of this and you can do it.
No,
like
that's not true, and you know that right now this is just emotional Meggy talking, and this is just this isn't an accurate reflection of what life is like at all, And it's okay. It's all right. It's like, but it's important that you try and recognize that in yourself, to have some self-awareness right now, and to be like, this is not you really talking, this is, it's the hormones, it's the hormones talking, and it's and give it a couple of days and you'll be right as rain, jolly as anything again.
But my allergies are so bad at the minute as well.
That's another terrible thing. We'll have to put in the terrible things that are happening to Meggy column.
We'll just call it like, what's the point? Money scaries and crying in the gym.
And also you should try, you realise that when people tune in to listen to you, Meg, they're tuning in to listen to you because they find you inspiring, and they find you, I wouldn't turn your face up, because when I listen back, I find some of the things you say very inspiring. And I think that, you've got to remember, it's like, this isn't just about you. This is about, what if someone tuned in and was like, I'm going to listen to Keep Growing because like I always feel great when I listen to those guys, and then they come on and they hear you saying fuck this, shit that,
Well, this is the series that we're doing though. Like it's a real talk of things that are happening. I'm sorry,
totally.
but things aren't feeling too great right now, and I feel like the worst thing for me to do is just put on like a, oh yeah, so good, oh my god, so good, like,
no,
oh well.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that you have to lie, but there's a difference between you saying, okay, look, I feel a certain way, feeling a certain way right now, my mind is playing some tricks on me, I'm feeling all these things. What are you gonna do then? Are you gonna just go with that and be like, yeah, no, like I'm feeling really shit, so I'm gonna basically say all these reasons why things are shit, terrible, it's all bad, give in, give up, blah 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 blah? Or do you say, okay, I feel a certain way, but I'm gonna try and take some time to understand where that's coming from, to try and have some self-awareness, and then to take some steps that I can be like, okay, well, it's not, I'm not in an ideal mindset. These are some things that I'm grateful for and that I do have. What can I do for the rest of this week that's going to change that? Because that to me would be more inspiring than just to sit and complain for the next hour.
No, you're so right. And it's all,
and we're only 28 minutes in.
We're halfway in, and your storage is full there.
I know, I saw that, and I was terrified of you seeing it, because I thought you might hit me. And besides that camera with that phone was just facing you. All the good stuff's on your one, which has got me on it. So that's the only one that really matters.
That's so true.
Yeah, and we can cut and splice. But anyway, I think that let's spend the next couple of minutes just thinking about.
Can I just turn mine off then?
Well, there's no point. Well, if you want to.
Because we've probably got. Unless you want to find loads of clips of you from this point on in the podcast.
Well, I'd just do that out of sheer enjoyment.
Yeah.
Yeah, just watching myself back.
I'll leave it on for you then.
I think that there are some. It's Tuesday, and we've got like another 5 days in the week.
Yeah.
There's 5 days there that you can, and I'm sure that this is because you're quite hormonal, and I'm sure tomorrow you'll feel differently when you wake up. But there are some things that we could sit and we could talk about that would be useful for you to do in the next.
How what it's going to look like is me.
Okay, so that seems pretty convincing. You sound like pretty convicted and.
Well, yeah, it's gonna be me Thursday, Friday, Saturday doing this pop up. So I'll be, out all day, for the whole day, in the hopes of people coming into this pop up that I might be at to do some money, and then Sunday I'm at another market in Manchester.
At a pop up which you don't have to lose any money out of your own pocket for.
True.
It's all just off your own back. It's a pop up that you've got through chasing yourself. You don't lose just from being there. You lose nothing. You only stand to gain something.
That's true.
Okay, there's money in the bank.
Yeah.
There's food in the fridge.
So it's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then at a market on
Sunday.
No, sorry, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then a market on Sunday.
And also I can fill in on Sunday, so that's
nice.
So that's well, you say that's nice of me, but it's like, I'm also working and I'm also gigging from tomorrow, and that's like, I felt like you were struggling, and I immediately threw myself down and was like, I'll sacrifice whatever time it is that I might have so that I can come and help you and support you. And that's not something that you should just gloss over and be like, that's nice. It's like, no, that's pretty big that you've got someone in your life that's like, oh, I'm willing to just totally sacrifice whatever it is I was going to do just so I can be there for you to try and, essentially get you some extra income, and just do, and I get nothing out of that exchange. I just do that because it's like, well, I'm there to help. And
I really appreciate that.
well, it's something that you need to, in moments like this, you should be mindful of, because it shouldn't become a thing where you just take those kind of things for granted and think, oh, well, yeah, okay, well, that's fine, but it's not like someone's just put £1,000 in my hand or whatever.
No, I
if anything, it's
that.
more valuable, and you should be more aware of that kind of stuff, because I don't think there's, obviously I can't speak for people, but there might be some other relationship out there where someone just says, well, what the hell are you going to do, because I'm the one that's putting all the financial stress, all the financial burden is on me. You're not working to the same level I am. You're basically taking advantage of me. So you better change quick, or things are going to, end badly.
I know.
But that never happens. So you got to be, well, it doesn't, and you got to be aware of
then
that.
Don't say it, asshole. No, you're absolutely right, and it's really, really kind and nice of you to say that you're going to help me out on Sunday. I hope you don't feel like you have to because you've mentioned it.
Well, I'm doing it because I'm trying to use it as an insight to be like, you've got you've got Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday at the market. Okay, so that's awesome, because it means that you're going to be somewhere. You're going to be, you're going to be at a place where there's potential for you to make some money, and it doesn't really matter what the money is that you make. That you make.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter about the money that you make. It's about the fact that you're saying to yourself, sorry?
Rallying, like to go.
Yeah,
there.
At a time also when it's like, it's that thing with like gym motivation. You don't always go to the gym when you feel motivated.
Yeah.
You do it it's like even when you don't feel motivated,
That's
but
true.
you've got discipline to do it. And that's what it's about. And you've got tomorrow. So you could also try and do something tomorrow, or you could also try and do something.
Well, I've got to make, though. You understand? Well,
okay,
I'm
well,
at
then
these
you spend.
I can't be making.
So then you spend tomorrow really doubling down and making.
Yeah.
And we talked about the whole, it's like Taylor Swift's in town, so you're gonna maybe look at doing some Taylor and
I don't.
Taylor
That's not
Swift
really my. I don't want to be someone that's making stuff that's like.
Okay, well, look, you can say that.
Pure trend release.
You can
like,
say that, and you can say, well, good for you. There's your integrity, and that's fine.
Not only integrity, but
no one says that you have to make you don't have to make a Taylor Swift. It's Taylor Swift's face, and it says hashtag #1 Swiftie. No one says you have to do that, but the idea of you being like, all right, you like Taylor Swift. Let's think of think of a Taylor Swift tune. There might be something really niche that she mentions in one of the tunes, and you're like, I'm going to do that and call it a Taylor Swift inspired little thing. Liverpool's going to be swarmed with Swifties. There's going to be people everywhere that love Taylor Swift, and someone might come in and see that and be like, I love that. That's adorable. I'm going to do it. The point is that you can turn your mind off and be like, no, I'm not doing that. Like, fuck that. That's not me. And then come crying about it later when you're like, oh, I didn't do that well because I should have done the Taylor Swift badges. Or it's like, oh, no, okay, just open your mind a bit and be like, well, maybe I could do that. What's that going to look like? How can I play that to my advantage a bit?
Yeah. Okay.
And it could be really cool. Could be it's really exciting. This is like a very rare occasion that you can jump on. If someone said to me, do you want to do a gig, and it's a gig because of Taylor, I'd be like, you can bet you that I'd go and learn some Taylor Swift songs. Not because, oh my God, oh Taylor Swift, oh. But it's because it's like, well, if it means that I'm going to get a gig and people might see me and be like, oh, see that guy did it, Taylor Swift, oh, it was really cool, oh, we should get him in for this and get him in for that, or, oh, did you see when he took that Taylor Swift request, that was amazing, let's get him back. It's like, yeah, obviously I'm not going to sit there and I'm not going to be like orgasming as I'm learning the song, going like, oh, Taylor, this is amazing.
It's not about that, but it's just about,
it's like, no, but
it's about me and like, what is the point in me having this business that I want to stand behind?
Yeah.
But then if I'm like, oh no, but also I will just twist and bend it to be whatever's popular and whatever's trendy right now.
I mean,
that loses your audience.
But that's an incredibly like deductive. Is that the right word?
Do you mean reductive?
Reductive. That's an incredibly reductive way to look at anything, because then what you just basically say, I don't follow any trends, I don't pay attention to anything that's going on, I just do me. And it's like, okay, great, but if you're naive enough to be like, well, there's an opportunity that's coming up, Taylor Swift's in town, when was she last in town, when's she going to be next in town, you make really nice bits of jewellery. As I say, you don't have to be there with a massive sign and a massive Taylor this, Taylor that. But if you spend a bit of time going through some of the songs, her folklore album, there might be something in that you're like,
Yeah.
I could make something that
And
is.
I do all this in one day, basically. Because the only day I've got to make is tomorrow.
Well, get up at 7 instead of getting up at 11:30 and being
Get up at 11:30.
You got up at 11:30 today, and get up at 7 and start making it 8 and be and get going and be like, okay, I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna do 10 of these, 10 of those, 10 of those, 10 of those. I know you have some stock, so it's not like you're totally empty. And get swifty, get on with it, do it, and be like, okay, because you've got the next couple of days to potentially, make some decent money from it. And that's what I mean. I mean, you could do that, and then you might get to Sunday, and you might be like, right, I've only made X amount of money, but you still adopted this mindset of like, I didn't feel like doing it. There was all these things that were stacked against me. I felt very emotional. I felt vulnerable. I didn't feel good about that. But I got up at 7 and ran at it and did it, and I was like, yeah, because I wasn't happy with the situation that I was in, and I went and did it. And I think that regardless of the money you make, you're going to feel so much better for doing that in yourself.
Yeah.
I think so.
Yeah.
I think so. Or not. Or sit there and be like, no, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do this for whatever reason. Yeah, I'll go. I'll do it. But it's like, well, then, yeah, you're probably not going to make a lot, and you're probably not going to have a very good time, and you're probably going to feel crap at the end of the week. But it's all just about mindset, and you know this. And
Today's sponsor. No. It is always better to do the things, even
just be careful. You're knocking the mic a bit.
Even before, I'd much rather be feeling vulnerable and crying and being at the gym doing stuff than.
Okay, so what you want to medal for that? You saying like, oh, okay, I mean, I don't know why you brought that up. Apart from
you said you've got to do it like, you'll feel better if you rally and run at something.
Intensely run at it.
Yeah.
And totally 180 what you're feeling right now. Well, right now you're letting your mindset make you a bitch.
Yeah.
And I know you're not a bitch.
Yeah. I haven't though, have I? Because today I've gotten up.
Yeah, no.
I felt pretty shitty, but I've gone to the gym.
Okay.
And I've done a workout, literally like in tears.
Well, let's break it down a minute.
Someone else would be like, "Oh no, like just stay at home and feel bad," but I didn't.
Okay, let's break that down a little bit. And right now, it's like you're saying that because it's like you're
I'm trying to give myself a few points because you're not really giving me any points.
I'm giving you lots of points, and I've spent the best part of today rallying and bumming you up and being there for you when. I don't think I'd be out of place saying that you maybe treated me a little unfairly throughout the course of today and acted a bit harshly towards me, and I still just put that aside and gave you the benefit of the doubt and was like, no, we can do this, let's do this, I've been in your corner all day.
You have. But just before saying, oh, well, what I need to do right now is rally in 180, when I feel like today I have definitely done that, I've gotten up and gone to the gym and then come back.
At parts you've done that, but at parts you've done that because I feel like I've been really pushing you to do that, and I've been like, no, let's take a minute, let's think where we're at, let's talk about this. And there's been many times today where you've been up 1 minute, down the next, joking 1 minute, quite serious and sour the next minute, and right now it's like no one's discrediting you for going to the gym and putting in a good workout session. That's great, but I feel like you're bringing that up because you're trying to be like, well, Mike's out here making me out like I'm a right bastard when I went to the gym before when I was in tears. And it's like, well, right now, the way how you've been talking for the past 40 minutes or so, has been that things aren't good and things are tough and things are bad, and you've not been on the podcast being, no, but I'm going to do this, and this is what I know I'm going to do, and I know that I'm not feeling great, but this is what I'm going to do. If you were doing all that stuff, I'd be like, yeah, that's amazing. That's
well, that's
like,
what I mean. I'm not there yet in my head though. Like,
okay,
but
then you trying to bring up these things.
I'm saying, despite how I'm feeling, and my head's not in it. My head's not been in the gym or, you know, making a nice breakfast, enjoying my food, having a nice shower. My head's not been in any of it because I've been feeling like rubbish. But I've done the things anyway. When maybe a while ago I wouldn't have done any of those things because of how I was feeling. You know.
Yeah, and that's great.
Yeah.
But I feel as if you saying it before is to be like, you know, we'd sort of reached the end of a conversation, and then you were like, oh well, you know, but I still went to the gym.
I do want a medal for going to the gym, even though I'm feeling awful and I'm literally like crying in the middle of my sets to like get it done because I'm feeling emotional.
And that's really inspiring. Yeah,
I wish they gave out medals on the way in.
But sweetheart, you know, you went to the gym and you did your gym session despite the fact that you didn't want to do it. Well, great. But a lot of people do that, and a lot of people get up and work 9 to 5 jobs with a mortgage, and their husband that can't, or their wife that is sick and they're not bringing in a paycheck, and they look after kids, and they do all that and they don't get medals. And it's like, okay, no, I'm not saying that you shouldn't, like, you know, you shouldn't champion when you do something that was good, but you know, that should come from within, and that should be a thing where you have that within yourself, and you're like, I did that. I know exactly how difficult that was for me, and I don't need someone to be. I don't need people to know about that. I don't need a big I feel crap, and but I did this. It's like, oh, good, but no one's gonna be cheering for you and like, oh, great, you know, like all the time. That's got to come from you, and you know, and that's what's happening right now. It's like, again, you know, I can be in your corner and I can help and I can try and get behind you, but it always has to come from you. And I feel as if that the more practice that you do that, and the more you go like, okay, look, this has to be me that does this, and it has to be me that steps in, the more robust and better you become at dealing with that kind of
well, you know, that's what I mean. Don't I always do that? Like,
yeah, a lot of the time,
do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's like, okay, but you know, there's plenty of things that don't go right or don't go well. But you know, you carry on and you figure something out and you do that and stuff. And then it's like, okay, but like, you know, yeah, what if I'm not there about that in my head, like.
I get where you're coming from, but there's a difference between not being somewhere and feeling like, okay, I'm mentally not there today and I'm struggling a little bit. There's a difference between that, and then there's a difference between basically turning every situation that comes up into something overtly negative, and your reaction and interpretation to it becomes borderline toxic. You know, there's a difference there. And I feel as if that today there were more examples of you really leaning into this. Everything's really shit. This is really bad. Oh, you know, sort of making things quite difficult for yourself and for the two of us in that respect. Then being like, look, I'm struggling today, and because I'm worried about this, you know, can we sit and talk about it? You know, it's like doing these things which are constructive for the two of us and for yourself.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't think you're necessarily leading with that mindset. And then if I try and step in and help, it's like at any venture where I'm trying to help you, you're taking that and sort of manifesting it and then projecting toxic stuff onto it, which makes it even harder because then it's like, well, I don't want to. I've got my own stuff. I've got my own things that I need to be rallying for, and I need to, you know. And if that was anyone else, you'd just be like, well, don't pay that person attention. So yeah, it's like there's a difference, and I feel as if for each other we have to sort of be harder on each other, because it's like we have a certain level of we expect more of one another than we would of like a stranger, you know.
Yeah.
Do you think that's fair?
Yeah, that's totally fair. Absolutely.
Okay.
But it is nice when you're like, oh.
That's what it comes down to, and you want that. You're looking for that. Oh, it's all okay, kid.
Yeah, exactly.
And what that does, Meg, is that absolutely destroys any sense of like of get go.
It doesn't. I definitely don't respond to that. Like before, when you came and brought me a towel out of the shower, and you were like, "Oh, she's so vulnerable. She's so like."
I think you said that. I think you said I'm vulnerable.
You said.
No, I put the towel around you, and you said I'm so vulnerable.
No, you said, "Oh, she's so vulnerable."
Did I?
You said that to me. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I said like, "Oh, I am. I'm so," and like, because that feels very like somewhat validating. I'm not saying that every feeling needs to be validated. Otherwise, you'd lean into this thing of like, oh well, oh pity party, and it's like, you know what I'm like. I don't host pity parties for myself often. I think most of the time, I'm okay of stuff.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah,
like day to day, I don't think I'm, stuff like that. So then when it's like, you get that feeling of feeling vulnerable and feeling like things haven't worked out and you're worried, for someone to be like, yeah, it's okay, I know what you mean, and have a little bit of like,
okay, I feel as if that maybe you're totally forgetting the whole every conversation we had up until this one. So we get up, I'm up before you lie in, we have a nice morning together. It's lovely. We're snuggling. We're with each other. It's great. Then the day kicks off. You get up and realise rent's come out, which I'd already sorted. But then it's like you've got to pay your half, and you're very quick to say, right, I've got no money in the bank now.
I didn't say that.
No, okay, you didn't. You said, oh, okay, a big chunk of my money's come out. Where's all this? What am I gonna do? This isn't good. I feel as this was all before you'd even put your shoes on to go to the gym and got ready properly, and it's like, oh, I feel like I'm working really hard. Where's all my money going? Oh, I want to do this, I want to do that, but I can't. Like, this is really upsetting. And I'm there at every step going, well, it's okay. Let's talk about it. Let's figure this out. Let's have a conversation about it. Doesn't really seem like you're in that mindset. Seems like you're in the mindset of this is terrible, and I just want basically what you've just said. You want someone to go, oh, it's okay, don't worry about money. But I'm there going like, no, let's talk about it. Let's be adults here. Let's have a grown-up conversation. This is the whole way to the gym. Then we get to the gym, and I say, let's sit down for 5 minutes. Let's just sit here while we're at the gym and let's have a conversation. You're like, oh, okay. And then we sit down, we have a talk, we have a discussion about it. And every time I say, well, let's think about this, let's think about that, let's talk about this, you're very quick to snap back at me. You're very quick to say, do you not think I've thought about that? Do you think that I don't take these things into account? That's your vibe of like, it's there's a lot of, I'm coming at it from a point of view of trying to help, and you're smacking these things back at me. And then despite that, I'm like, let's get up, let's make this about the workout, let's push through. I'm every step of the way, I'm like, you're doing great. I'm really proud of you. This is amazing. This is where you grow. I'm channeling all this positive energy. And then we leave, and then we go straight and chase some stuff. We go and chase some leads. Yeah. We go and do some shopping, and then we come back, and then you're angry because your avocados weren't ripe and ready, even though Tesco said they were.
That was the final nail on the coffin. I thought, at least I can have a nice brekkie. We've gone out, we've bought some stuff.
Okay.
I cut open one avocado that says ripe and ready that felt good in Tesco. The thing is rock solid on the inside and rubbish. So that goes in the bin. So there's money gone in the bin straight away.
Okay, well maybe you didn't have to throw it in the bin.
No, once you've cut it open, you can't. There's no way of storing it if it's not ripe.
I've seen you mush it and put it in containers.
You mash a ripe avocado, season it with your own stuff, and put it in Tupperware in the fridge. That's fine. But if you can't mash the avocado, you can't just put it back in the bowl or in the fridge. It's not going to get any riper in the fridge. Do you understand? Like, you probably just don't, because you're not an avocado person, but anyone listening to this right now knows exactly what I'm talking about. There's nothing you can do once you've cut it open.
Okay.
And then I take another one that was already there, so not one we picked up today, because I picked up one today that was ripe, that felt ripe, and one today that didn't feel so ripe, because that one's going to be good for not tomorrow, but the next day or the next day. So I was like, okay, well, there's one here that was already here, and this one feels a lot riper.
Okay.
I cut that one open, and it's all brown. It's pure mush, so it's not edible anymore. It's gone off.
Okay, it happens.
And I was just like,
It's not
great,
really about
so
the
there's-
avocado though, is
no,
it? Because
it's
there are
about, it's like, it's a waste of food that's annoying. It's my
No,
breakfast
but
isn't going to be right that's annoying. And then it's the whole thing of like, you're literally putting money in the bin when you bin food that you
okay,
don't eat.
and you're looking at it purely from this money point of view because you've woken up, you've had to pay rent, you've looked at your money and you're like, oh, this isn't where I want to be. And despite the fact of us having these multiple conversations about you can rally, there are things that you can do, there are things in place. We've got a security blanket. I'm working. We have money that is invested for the both of us, not just you. You're not poor. You're not living on the breadline. You're okay. You choose, despite all that, you choose to see an avocado and be like, that's brown and mushy. And then it goes in the bin and you've lost. Well, also, it's like, the ratio of what I pay to the shopping to you, you've not lost what I've lost. I would have lost more, but that's not the point. But it's like, okay, you're going to lean into that and then you're going to dictate. But then you're going to let that dictate how you respond. But the point is like, why I brought that up was like, oh no, it's gone. It was something to do. Why did I bring that up?
Because that was, after all this, it was the avocados that brought me back into this place of feeling.
Oh, that was it.
Really
Because
annoyed.
I don't know. Because you said that what you really want in these exchanges is that you want someone to go, to snuggle you and be, oh, he's okay, he's okay.
No, not that. But it does
d-
feel nice. I can't help but admit that feels nice.
But what can't happen is I can't try and help you the best way I can, and you can't come back and talk to me in a way where you're basically attacking me, like in the gym, and you can't then come back and be like, oh, acting in a way where it's like a child, and then it's like, well, I'm not going to respond. I'm not going to reward that behavior like I would a child and be like,
no,
oh,
that's totally
on
fair.
my knee. Oh,
no,
you're
that's
okay.
Totally fair.
I'm not going to do that because that just reinforces bad behavior.
No, I that's not what I want. I did apologise at the gym when I was saying, like, do you not think that I'm already doing this when you're suggesting things that I'm already trying really hard to do, and you suggesting it feels like you're not validating my like hard work. Do you know what I mean? Like
that's again, you're coming out from a point of view where it's like you want that validation. You think that just because I've suggested something to try and help you, you think that I'm not validating your hard work because I've not acknowledged this thing that you've done. And that goes back to the whole, oh well, yeah, you went to the gym and you were crying when you did a workout, and it's like, well, yeah, I was there and I was supporting you the whole way, but because I didn't do a big show of,
you're so right.
You are so amazing. You are amazing for doing this work. It's you think, oh well, he doesn't get it. He doesn't know what I'm going through, and it's like, yeah, well, but that's not helpful, and that's not a helpful mindset for you to be in, because
fair.
What does that mean going forward? What a horrible life that's going to be for the two of us, where if I don't make this big, oh my God, thank you so much.
I don't think I need it to be that much.
No, but
all I meant was
I validate you all the time, and I give you positive. I'm the biggest person in your life that's always fueling your success.
You absolutely are.
But it seems like you lose sight of that quite quickly.
I can lose sight of it, when I'm feeling a certain way, because it's what I want is the, like, I want the, oh, like, look, I know how hard you're trying. Like, I don't want anything of like, oh, well, you're probably not doing this, you're probably not working hard enough. Realistically, Meg, you're not working hard enough.
No one said that.
You did say that in the gym.
No.
You were like, you don't get up at 8 a.m. and work hard all day or anything.
That's so interesting. I said we don't do that. I was like, if we got up at 7 and got our workouts in for 8, and then we were back at 9:30 working to 5:30, and we weren't making money, and we were living paycheck to paycheck like some people do, then I'd be like, okay, that's maybe a cause for concern. Right, so let's just, okay, so it's not just like, oh yeah, you did say we, to be fair, because like if I'd have just left that would have been this big thing of like, yeah, I'm basically saying you don't work hard, you don't get up and do the work, blah blah blah, which is totally not what I was saying. But if you want to rewrite the narrative, that's absolutely fine.
Okay, fair enough.
Okay, so I think maybe right now you're just, you're in a bit of a funk, you're in a bit of a mood. It's hormone central, and that's okay to a degree. But
I really appreciate your patience and your validation and all of your supportive talk this morning. I really do, and I am really grateful for it.
Yeah.
And
because I just never get like that.
You don't. You really don't. You never have, like...
I'm just so consistent.
You're so consistent. But again, like, that probably is due to hormones,
I'm just a very consistent together guy.
You're consistently like, you don't have hormonal fluctuations like women do. And...
Oh, I have hormone fluctuations.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, all the time. Yeah, I just what you know what I do? I just take a deep breath and go, and then I'm just like, oh my god,
and then
everything's
just
fine.
totally
just totally fine.
Oh
Yeah.
god, wow, so envious.
Oh, it's always so hard being Meggy. Oh, you don't know how much of Mike's money will I spend this week? I don't know.
We're going to Glossier.
Yeah, Meg was like, we got back from the gym and she was like, but we're still going Glossier, aren't we? It's like, oh my god. I seriously need to do some rethinking. I need to recalibrate.
Oh god.
But you know,
the take home message is
that I'm a legend.
It's that Mike's a legend.
Currently seeking new relationship.
Currently single. And that Meg is a lost cause, and
you always do that. You always like, you know, you always turn it into this big thing of like, why would I bother trying to do better in life because life's stacked up against me? And it's like, Jesus Christ, like
no, that's not me. That's me at my worst.
That's
like,
you like once every blue moon.
Yeah,
but it's funny that you always go because I never go to
you
that.
Never go there, no?
I no, but
you don't go there.
No.
But again, you know, we're different. I'm maybe just a bit more sensitive, a bit more.
You are, yeah.
My hormones are so up and down.
Well, you have so much empathy.
I do.
You know, and maybe that's what you're looking for in me when you feel this way. And
I do get it.
Yeah, it's like you're like,
but it's like you give me what I need, not necessarily what I want. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and maybe, and I still think I give you what you want to a degree.
Oh yeah, you definitely do. You definitely do.
But you know, it works both ways. Like I feel like maybe when I mean, I don't get in those kind of funks that much, but sometimes it's like, but I get in different kind of funks, you know, and that's good because you show me that empathy and that's useful, because I maybe lack that for myself, you know.
But yeah, I'm sorry if I've depressed anyone with today's episode.
I'm sorry too.
Everything is all right, but I just want to, you know, but that's what I mean, like, is being honest about your feelings, leaning into them, or is it actually just saying things that maybe people can relate to, and then maybe be like, yeah, fucking hell, I do feel like that sometimes, and it's actually nice to hear someone who isn't trying to make it all about, obviously everything's good to be a lesson and it's good to always learn and move and grow from something, but I also think that there is value in just being like, oh, you know.
I disagree. I
really?
think, and I know that I do that sometimes, and I really try and avoid that, and I try and get out of it as quickly as possible, because it's just like, it's like this thing of like, you know, say if you were an alcoholic and you were like, or like you suffered from some sort of abuse, so, you know, drugs or food or whatever, and you're like, yeah, but sometimes, you know what I'll do, and it's only through a lens of when I'm feeling bad about myself, I'll go out and I'll just fucking just get on it, and I'll just eat 10 cheeseburgers, and sometimes you just need to eat 10 cheeseburgers. But today
I've just been venting. I've been ventilating my emotions. I've been
ventilating.
Is that what it is?
I don't think so. You've just been venting. Yeah, yeah.
I've been ventilating.
You've been breathing.
I've been breathing out toxic air. I've been venting about my feelings, venting about my emotions, venting about things I'm scared about, things I'm feeling anxious about.
Yeah, but you've got to understand there's a difference between you're allowed to vent, of course you're allowed to vent, but
because sometimes you've got to get on the other side of it.
Yeah, but
you've got to like hear yourself and be like.
But I feel as if that you just play into it more.
No, but also being like, right, but if I was to totally just not, again, if I wasn't upset and I didn't talk about it, how would I know that now this weekend I need to come on the other side of that, like you say, do a 180 and rally and bring it together, if I was just totally devoid of feeling, leaning into any of that emotion? But
it's nuanced, but it's being able to be like, okay, you're allowed to I think it's more about channeling, and I feel as if that today you didn't really channel. I feel as if you just basically just splurted everything out
Yeah.
exactly how you were feeling it.
Yeah.
And then you have someone there who's like, well, we can do something about that, we can use that.
Yeah.
And it's like, no, not that you were like that, but without saying
yeah,
it,
like kind of, yeah.
it's like, no, it's not about that, it's about this, that, and I don't want help, I just want to wallow for a bit.
Yeah.
And I think, okay, well, look, you can do that if you want, but I don't think that helps at all. It does is set you back. It sets you back mentally. It sets you back for time, because it doesn't do anything to help.
No, that's
just
very
makes
fair.
everything a lot harder.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, so now you've got to pull yourself out of this even deeper,
But
because of how long
that's me. But I always will. You know.
Or I'll always be there to help. And I know that
always
it's like,
be there to help, because that's your job. You're my partner.
oh,
like you have.
That's
Just
nice.
in the same way, it's my job to help you and to pull you out of something.
It's your job to pull fucking banknotes out of my wallet.
So specific of like the tender, like. Oh God, that's funny.
I love you.
I love you too.
And by the end of this week, you're gonna have the best week.
Yeah, I think by the end of the day, I'll be feeling a lot better as well. And you know,
God forbid anything else goes wrong.
I feel. Oh, tea goes wrong tonight. Oh, but you know, this is a good example of what not to do if things haven't gone your way this week.
Gone your well. If you're thinking about building your own well.
Don't bother starting yet, because it's spoilers.
Oh, you're peeking the audio all over the place.
I'm sorry.
Oh God, it's peaked a few times.
Sorry, God, I can't do anything right.
Oh God,
but
that was a big one.
This is an example of what.
Because you fucking you went right into the mic.
Didn't mean to.
We talk about this every week.
I know, I'm sorry, it was an accident.
I'm just joking.
But
I'll fix it.
God, what doesn't he fix? But yeah, let us know. Let us know how you deal with things that haven't gone well. Would you say you have an hour of just feeling shit and then you kind of rally? Is it a day of kind of feeling blah, or are you just like Mike? Do you just like not let it? Sort of like let it in, but then don't let it sit in and stew. You just kind of, it's almost like an automatic shift to like, okay, well, how do we move forward here, instead of like deep diving and reflecting on stuff. Like, you know, I don't think it ever gets to the thing where I'm like, oh, like feeling really, really bad or anything. I think I don't know. If I didn't have this feeling of like taking note of the bad or the negative, it's kind of like, well, maybe I would be better off, and maybe it's like you know, it's like that whole thing of like, oh, like good vibes only, positive vibes only, and it's like,
it's not.
No, it doesn't. And that's, I'm not saying that's what you're saying. But maybe it's like, okay, it doesn't need to be positive vibes all over, positive vibes only. But maybe it's like, okay, you can have the negative vibes and you can have the negative things or thoughts and stuff, but then maybe rather than letting them taint how you see everything else, or letting them like get to you in a way that's not good, where it is affecting you and it's affecting the people around you, and you know. But then that's what I mean, maybe it's like a thing of like, today, should I have just gone inner and not, do you know what I mean? Should I have just gone into myself and had all these thoughts and things swirling around in my head?
No one's saying that. But at the same time, it's like, I feel as if I had to try and pull it out of you and try and put it in, turn it into a thing of, we can use this, and these are all good things that you can use.
Yeah.
Whereas it felt as if that.
Yeah,
you were
I
just
usually always try and see things as a way you can learn from something and lessen something, but I don't know what's happened to me today that I've not been able to see that way of things.
Because I think you're quite emotional, because you're basically day 2 into your period.
Yeah.
And I think that is a very real
Yeah.
thing for women, and I think it's more than fair that you would feel more emotional, and that it would be harder for you to sort of rally. That's fine.
Okay.
But it's important to be like, it's just important to take note and be like, yeah, well, like, there are certain things there that are acceptable and fine, but going forward, it's like, if you were to be like that every single time this situation was dealt, like,
Yeah.
you start your menstrual cycle, something happens that's like, it's not terrible, it's not an awful thing hasn't happened
I
here,
know.
normal life is happening, and then you're making it into this horrible, terrible thing, and
Yeah.
being slightly toxic towards me. It's like, well, you can't do that.
No,
You can't.
you're right.
And you've got to have a strong, you've got to have like a very
moderate thing.
Yeah, and a palette where it's like, no, I don't do that. We don't do that here. Like, this is what happens, and it's all right.
Right.
So look, you can sit there and you can be like, it's taking me a bit longer today. I need a bit more, just support. And that's fine. You'll get it, but there's a way to go about it, and there's a way to get it, and that's fine. And maybe just going forward, this is great, because it's sort of giving you more of an insight to that self-awareness.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Love you.
Love you too. Okay. Let's go and time to suck today's dick. That's a Pineapple Express reference.
Love that movie.
Yeah, let's go do it. Let's go and make some things happen.
Okay.
What time are you starting tea?
I'll get straight on it.
Okay.
But yeah.
Yeah. We're always here if you guys need us.
Yeah, we're definitely not. Well, I'm definitely not one to say like, oh, bloody hell, like, stuff like that. So yeah, if there is anything that has troubled you or has led you feeling a little bit more vulnerable or struggling, just pop us a message, because we're happy to listen.
Always.
Bye.
We'll see you next time, guys.
See you next
Bye.
time.
Have a lovely week. We'll see you later.
Yeah, have a good day, guys.
Bye.